Thanks for letting me to do this presentation. I'm super excited. Uh, while you said I could do it, it was interesting to kind of curate the 10 tech things that I can come up with, which is interesting. So there was a big process behind curating this. So before even I go there, to explain what's futures, futures has been kind of used for decades in stock selling or stock markets, where they kind of have a foresight of what's going to happen based on trends that happen in the given area. Um, the I did a training or went through a training about a year and a half ago about futures. I was super fascinated. We all do this. We all kind of gather. So if you're doing a PhD research, you tend to kind of collect information in your subject. Sometimes you are not organized, sometimes you are, and you kind of put it thematically, or you have your own version of doing it. This is the scientific way of how to do it. So let me quickly kind of go through them. Uh, what is futures? Futures is an approach to identify the long-term issues and challenges that shape, say, for example, if it is electric car industry, then you kind of look at what are the innovations that are happening with batteries, innovations that are happening with mobility, innovations that are happening with automation, and you bring it together and you have a kind of a read through and you have a process in place to manage this. And this is the usually used word, and most of us have heard it, is horizon scanning. It was a buzzword about 10 years back. Now I think it's overused, but hey, that's used predominantly. So I'm going to kind of, I've kind of used this often. And being a project manager, one thing is you make lists, and you make lists and lists, thanks to Trello and other solutions that you get. And one of that is into tech. So that's about futures, and horizon scanning is the technique that you use. I'm sure you can Google, so I'm not going to kind of waste time on things that you can Google and find out, okay? What I'll also do is share the list of URLs that I've used on the Facebook page, so that you can check out everything that we're going to talk about today. The other thing is everything that I'm talking about today is all in the public domain, so you don't have to worry about trying to kind of find it. So it should be easy. Okay, so first is e-scooters. Not sure if, so out of the 10 things, just before I get into e-scooters, let me kind of explain how I've kind of thematically organized these 10. So it's into transport. So there are about 4 of them on, 3 of them on transport, 4 of them are on healthcare, 2 on urban infrastructure, and 1 on public administration or public services. Okay, so e-scooters, I'm not sure if you have been following the news. E-scooters are used in almost most of the big cosmopolitan cities in Europe and US, and it's coming to UK. So we now have a trial option that has been put in place by UK Gov. So councils can apply for the trial, and it can only be a rented e-scooter. So you can't go and buy a e-scooter from Halfridge or online and start riding it around in the city. The people who are are breaking their law. So just be mindful, don't break the law. Anyway, so it's coming. This is a very interesting area, because personal mobility, especially with coronavirus and the kind of challenges that we have about the personal space, the 2-meter rule, and the public transport, this is going to be a huge thing that's going to happen. So that's one. Next, this is a very interesting option that's come up. So it's called Flexi. It's the Welsh Flexi. I don't know whether I'm getting it right, but Flexi. So it's an app that you can download on Android or Apple. Transport for Wales, which has been set up recently. It's one of their innovations. So they're piloting it in Newport. You download the app and you say from where you need to be picked up and how many seats you want to book. And the bus arrives at that time. It's all on demand. So one, you don't have to have empty buses running around, and you don't have to worry about the spaces and the the social distancing that you need to have. So that's second, which I thought is super interesting. And if the pilot goes well, it'll be started in other cities as well. So that's the second one. The third one from transport, and all these technologies or tech stories are all from Wales, maybe predominantly from South Wales, and it all has an impact on all our lives one way or the other. River Simple is a hydrogen car company, very interesting. Obviously, it costs a lot to hire a hydrogen cell along with a car, or buy a car with hydrogen cells. So what they have done is they have started a model for their business where it is a pay to or rent to service kind of service as a paid as a service kind of a model. So you pay for the miles that you use and you pay a certain amount. It's like how you rent from Europa car or any of these rental companies. So you rent a hydrogen car and it's super clean, and it's very friendly for the ecosystem, so that's really good. And they will take care of everything from the repairs, maintenance, and the service costs, all of that. I thought that's a very interesting topic. So that's third. The fourth one, going into the healthcare side of it, one is about the diabetes technology. So all of us know the people who suffer from diabetes got to have a glucose meter, and these are either a prick to get a drop of blood, or it has micro syringes, so you put a patch on your skin and that kind of interacts with the glucose monitor and you check your glucose levels. But this particular company in Chepstow have come up with a very interesting solution where it's a non-invasive, and you wear it like the glucose meter is like a wrist watch, and you wear it, and there you go. And then that's it. You get the data on your blood glucose level whenever, or it takes the test regular intervals, and you can check what is your blood glucose level. So I thought that was very interesting. We're going okay with the time? Yeah, good. Okay, so the next one, and while I read this, I just couldn't believe this. This is amazing. So this is a project which is being funded by government at the moment, and the consortium which has got the funding is led by Bangor University and is working with Cardiff University, Public Health, and Dur Cymru. And this is about identifying RNA of coronavirus. So that's the SARS-CoV-2 virus in wastewater. So it's basically human waste. So from the poo, they can identify. So these are wastewater that comes to the treatment plants, and they can test there for the RNA, and they can tell whether the pipes that bring in those sewage, there is any community infection or spread of infection or any clusters in that particular community, and then they can tell 3 weeks before the symptoms start showing, which I thought is amazing, especially with the current climate and not knowing how the coronavirus is affecting all of us, and not having the background behind the virus other than just the genome, uh, I thought this is an interesting system to test. Anyway, so this is again, it is being tested, piloted at the moment, and if things go fine, the project will be funded long term. You can find these details on the article from Wales online, and it is absolutely fascinating. So that's one, and the next one is Swansea scientists have come up with a speed clean system for ambulance, which I thought is super interesting because, hey, um, the current manual way of cleaning the ambulance takes about 45 minutes. This is not including the stress and strain for the ambulance staff, and also the downtime, because for 45 minutes, if that particular vehicle is going to be out of service, then they need to have enough ambulance units to kind of cover the area. And this whole thing has halved, or more, less than half, the time that it usually used to take. So it's now within 20 minutes they're able to do. So they release a gas, and this gas kills all COVID virus on the surfaces and in the nooks and corners. So the current model that most of the countries use is a UV radiation. So they push in a UV machine, switch it on. The trouble with that is you need a line of sight, so nooks and corners might not get cleaned. But with the gas, it is well used system where it'll go to the nooks and corners and kill the coronavirus. So I thought that is an interesting development. So the next one, this is my favorite. People who know me know that I'm into free hugs. So hug for people with dementia. So Cardiff Metropolitan University students, researchers have developed this cuddly toy, which has and sensors, and you can kind of it'll give you that feeling of hugging a human. Especially with the lockdown, we know the number of people who are feeling lonely, who live alone, who need a hug. Who doesn't need a hug? I mean, this is amazing. So I thought this is an interesting tool that the researchers in Cardiff Metropolitan University are developing. So that's a great story. We are only 2 away. The next one is again one of my favorites. So a friend of mine works in this research team, and this is about the Cardiff Urban Sustainability Platform. So it's a platform which mimics the city. So the whole city is in augmented view, available online on the web, where people can, so say for example, if there is going to be a flooding in an area, you can visually see how the flooding will affect different parts of the city. Or say for example, coronavirus, and you are managing clusters, you can actually see the flow of people and vehicles to understand how that will have an impact on the spread of the virus. And I thought this is an amazing tool that they're developing, and Cardiff is already, the tool is up and running. So, if you are into any research which you can, which you will be interested in, Google them, get in touch with them. Thought it's a great project. So next one, this is one of my cool things that I've heard about, and I see that most of them in Cardiff don't even know that it exists. So we all know there are parking sensors that are connected, and you can kind of see how many parking spaces are there if you're coming into Cardiff city center. You can do this for your own IoT, Internet of Things connected sensors. So, for example, you can have a moisture control or moisture reporting Internet of Things meter, and you can put it in your garden and connect it to this network. So the Internet of Things network in Cardiff, this particular network is run by volunteers, and it is free to be connect. Anyone can connect to it, and it runs something called LORAN, and so it's a low energy WAN, wide area network, and you can connect your own sensors. So you can have one for moisture, one for counting the particles in the air, for pollution, and you can connect these, and you can view the readings from anywhere on the web, which I thought is interesting, and no one is not many people know about it in Cardiff. So that's Internet of Things. And the last one is the Welsh Centre for Digital Public Services. So there's a new center that's being set up by Welsh government for looking at public services, how it can be delivered user-friendly for citizens across Wales. And it's interesting because we now know how the information is distributed. We know that mobile first solutions are have the biggest uptake in the customer base. So developing these, and especially for government or public services, and testing it out is going to be a fascinating opportunity. And this center is poised to do these research. So I thought I should highlight that. These are 10 of my favorite ones. What I've not covered, obviously, is the semiconductor businesses that are huge in South Wales. I haven't covered the renewable energy in Mid Wales. I haven't covered the nuclear energy in North Wales. So there's a lot of other interesting areas that we could cover. My request is, being part of the I3 team, is if you're listening to this and if you think you can come up with 10 things that of your favorite things within any of these industries, please get in touch with us. We'll be happy to host your talk. So those are the 10 tech things that I've loved, the tech stories that I've loved. There is something else as well that's happening around this week. So the Wales Tech Week is happening now. I've managed to get glimpses here and there, day job. Anyway, so if you're interested, it's free events. The one thing good about coronavirus is all the events are online and it's all free. So don't miss the opportunity. Check out these guys. They're really cool. So that's a shout out for them. And that's the end of my talk.
Fantastic talk. Thank you, Sri. I actually want to second the shout out to the Wales Tech Week. I've been attending a few of their sessions. I went to 2 today, and I went to a couple yesterday, and I went to basically the whole day on Monday, and it's been incredible. It's been fantastic. Super interesting.
I totally agree. I mean, it's an amazing opportunity.
Yes, thank you very much for your talk. Thank you. Super interesting. Does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask Sri today? In the meantime, while people get thinking, I have a question. With the Hugs for Dementia one that you mentioned, do you think they take into account other senses that are important for comfort in human interactions, like smell or like the warmth of a hug? Or
out of what I have read, no.
Okay.
But that was something else that I was looking at. So at the moment, we have Facebook, where you get the visuals, videos, and sound. So the visual and the audio is taken care. Imagine if anyone can replicate the smell. That's a whole big ecosystem that will come alive if your phone can produce that scent, and then you get the extra sense, and you get the situational awareness of where you are, and you can actually feel like what the other person is. So if the other person is walking down Himalayas, you will know what it smells like. There are challenges to it, I agree, you know, obviously not in certain places, but I think it's a great opportunity. So who knows? But I will keep tracking these technology stories. And if you have any good stories, reach out for me. The good thing about having a name which you can't pronounce is you can find me easily on Google. So search me, get in touch with me, and we can chat.
Uh, Thank you, Sri. That was very interesting. Yes, can I just say that we have these e-scooters in Bogota and they're very useful. You know, many people are using them. I haven't had the chance, but yes, they are working very, very nice.
I can't wait for the lockdown to come down and after 3 months be able to start hugging people. I'm going
Yes.
to tell you when I'm hugging so you don't come to Queen Street, okay?
Well, after February, I will join you.
Cool.
Yes.
Bojo.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Does anyone else? Bojo?
Yeah, can I ask
Yeah.
really quickly, Shri? So you know the Internet of Things and how if you can connect to different
Yeah.
communities and that kind of thing. Obviously, that's really good. That's really exciting. You know, have lots of community schemes going on for things like you said, pollution. But how susceptible are those kinds of things to cyber attacks? I mean, if your fridge or your sprinkler system is connected to the internet, would that make your entire Wi-Fi more susceptible to become more to
There is
cyber?
already systems where, so there are like Google kind of search engines where you can search for Internet of Things that are open. And it is a big issue. And do not connect your kettle or your heating to Internet of Things yet. It will take some more time for those security to kind of come in place. But if you're going to monitor the moisture levels in your garden, that's okay. Don't connect your pacemaker to it, you know. So yeah, at the moment, yes, IoT security is a huge thing. So yeah.
I think that the cybersecurity thing is very interesting. We actually had a talk on here for people that haven't seen it. You could check out our YouTube. There was a talk on cybersecurity. It's on our YouTube channel. Maybe we should ask, I think it was Andy Cuff to come back and explain the whole thing with the kettles and the fridges, because that'd be super interesting.
Yeah, because IoT, again, you know, at the moment, we are not even thinking about it. What we are doing is we are just connecting left, right, center to internet. About a year back, there was this article on BBC. So, you know, these vacuum robots that are kind of everywhere now, yeah? So the BBC Click team found out that the data that it collects is directly sent to a Chinese company from almost all the major brands of vacuum cleaners that are there, robotic vacuum cleaners. So technically, for you and me, it probably doesn't matter if, you know, someone somewhere in China knows what's the layout of our house. But it matters for a celebrity, it matters for the high secure facilities. We are not thinking about these at the moment.